So a 10-year-old boy asked his mom if she knew what Jesus said when he came out of the tomb. Now, I've not heard anything about Jesus saying anything coming out of the tomb, have you? She said, no. What did he say? And he said, ta-da! When we're standing on solid air, we don't feel like ta-da. But at the end of any gymnast performance, after all the spins and twists, the gymnast is supposed to land upright, raise their hands in the air, and stick the moment, right? Yep. In your mind, every time you see that person going like this, you can say, they're saying, ta-da, I did it. Life, however, sometimes makes landing feel like it's not very solid. Those of you that have ever snow skied know that sometimes snow does not feel very solid. You know, if you're going down the packed trails, yeah, that's okay. But if you're in the fluffy stuff, it doesn't feel very solid. Water skiing, same thing. Once you get used to water skiing, you're vibrating on the top of the water and everything's going okay. But it's not very solid. But if you fall in the water, it's much easier than falling on the snow. Now, we don't have any coasts in Oklahoma, so I've not done any surfing. But probably here in this part of the world, some of you have. And I'm thinking it's probably the same thing. It doesn't feel very solid when you're surfing. But life is a flow, and we get to move through it and allow it to move through us. And the principles that we teach help us do that. So I'm going to go over a couple of the principles and not the whole list of what we believe, because that would be, several talks. But I want to talk about a couple of them because they are appropriate for our lives. The first foundational belief on which our whole teaching stands is we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, self-existent cause. One cause. I say it much shorter. God is all there is. God is all there is. There's only God. So anything that's out there that doesn't look like God or feel like God, it's our interpretation that's caused that difference, because there's only God. But that oneness shows up in a multiplicity of ways. Looks like all of these faces. Just like it's our body, but it looks like 10 different fingers, right? Or 2 different ears, or 2 different eyes. This one manifests itself in and through all of creation, but is not absorbed by creation. That's all part of this thing, that it's still just one. There's only God here. And this godness is more than just what it creates. We are more than just what we think we are, because we're a piece of that whole. We see the effects of God, but we really don't see God itself, except that we see it as we can appreciate it, as we can do something with it. Ernest Holmes, who founded the Science of Mind studies in the first place, goes on to state that this one God takes form as people, all people, and there is a nature within us, which he calls the soul, that is eternal and ever expanding. The kingdom of heaven is within us, and I'm sure you've heard that before, and it's available for all of us to use, to experience, to the degree that we become aware of it. It's here for us, as long as we're aware of it, as much as we're aware of it. And when we put something in our way, it's just like we put on our dark glasses in the house and we just can't see as clearly. And yet when we take those dark glasses off and put on whatever other glasses if you need them, I could take them off, but then I couldn't see to read, then that would be awkward. But when we take those blinders off and look, we can see all kinds of things. Ernest Holmes says the ultimate goal of life is freedom from discord and that everyone shall attain this. And I'm like, okay, God, where was Ernest going with this? Doesn't appear to me that this life is free of discord yet. But I'm recognizing that there's probably something in me that's causing that angst to show up, and therefore I get to work on it. So God is not some remote principle out there. God is right where we are. Heaven is within us. And Ernest Holmes reminds us that we experience this to the degree that we become aware of it. I'm almost to the end of the lecturing part. Moving to the stories. The foundational belief reminds us that we are not pathetic sinners left on a lonely planet, far from the center of infinite beingness. Because wherever God is, we are. Wherever we are, God is. It's all the same. There's no separation. There's, nudge your neighbor, remind him that we're both being good gods. Really. We're expressing God to the very best we can, right? That's what we're doing. So the third and last principle that help us get through this material, that we call life, is understanding how it expresses through us. Ernest defies some previous teachers by pointing out that all of us, through our intuition, can be revealers of truth by living in close contact with divinity. And I'm going to tell you that we don't even have to know it. Because sometimes you will say something, or you will say something, or do something that inspires somebody else to do something differently. Being a teacher to someone else, and you don't even have to know what you say. In fact, my theory is, and it's just my theory, it's not something that anybody else believes, but it's my theory, that if you're still breathing on this planet, you got something to do here. I don't know what it is. I don't even know what my last thing is going to be, but I know if I'm still here, I got something to do. Ernest says the path of the flow of the creative energy emanating from universal spirit through a universal mind, which is the law of God. Oh my gosh, it's those long words. And that we are constantly surrounded by this creative mind, which is the good news and the bad news both, because it receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. What we think makes a difference. And as a result of this, we believe the healing of the sick and the shifting of conditions through the power of our mind. Though of that mind, not our mind, it's important to know that it's not through the power of my mind. It's through the power of that one mind. That's important. Now, what's all this about? And why does it make a difference? And what does it have to do with me? Here we go. On November 3rd, I fell. Now that's a month ago, I fell. It was dark, 6:30 in the morning before the time changed. The outside lights were off the building that I was going into where my Toastmasters Club meets at 6:30 in the morning. And my intention was to walk around my car to see if I was parked in the parking space. Now it's early in the morning. I could have put the thing into reverse and checked the stripes, but I didn't think of that. I was not functioning at that level at that moment. Put it in, got out of the car, started to walk around, no lights, and I did not step high enough to get my foot over the curb. So I face planted. Once I hit the ground, I rolled over and just lay there. And looked up at the night sky, or the early morning sky, and said, "Isn't this interesting?" I swear that's what I said. That's what I said. "Isn't this interesting?" No swear words at all. And I reached out and got a Kleenex out of my purse because my nose was red. And I wiped it off. And then I laid there for a few minutes and checked out my limbs. They all seemed to be working, so I sat up and realized my nose was still wet. Got another Kleenex. Good bloody nose. But after I sat there for a while, just a few minutes really, I got up, went to my car, got my briefcase, and thanked God for the fact that I had left my briefcase in the car. Because it had a cup of coffee, mug of coffee, in the briefcase, and the top did not seal well. And if I had fallen with that, there would have been coffee through all of that stuff in my briefcase, and I would have had to clean it up. What a mess. Somebody else said, well, it might have cushioned your fall. Could have, I don't know, because we can't go back and redo it, or at least I don't want to. So I went inside the building, and people were amazed. They just started to fuss over me. I found out that 4 other people in my Toastmasters Club carry first aid kits in their car, which is good. They cleaned me all up. I had a huge scash here, and things began to swell. My glasses were so scratched, they felt like velvet with the nap sticking out. I couldn't possibly see out of the middle of them. So somebody's going, "Are you okay? Do you need to go to the doctor?" And I'm going, "I feel good. You know, my face is sore, but I feel good. I feel aware. I feel okay. I feel like I'm part of the divine." Now, I don't think I said that to my Toastmaster friends, but it's okay. And I kept telling myself I was okay. And then one of the things that I do after the meeting was over, they're going, you need to drive home. And I'm going, "I can't drive home. My glasses are scratched up and it's dark outside." But when the light comes up, sun comes up, I do have prescription sunglasses so that I can drive. But when the light came up and the meeting was over and I had eaten my breakfast as part of the group and done my role as a timer for the Toastmasters Club, I put on my sunglasses and I drove to work. And I will tell you, that's easier to drive from my Toastmasters Club to work than it would have been to drive home. It was the lesser of two things. And but I felt great. I got to work and I walked in and they're going, "What's up with you? Why are you here?" But I feel okay. I will tell you too that we do have a doctor in our Toastmasters Club, and she checked me out as much as she could right there in the meeting and going, "Here are the symptoms of concussion. If you have any, go to the emergency room." I didn't have any. I never had any. So I did my work at work and got through early and left to go home. Went home, tried to go to the doctor, but the first thing they said was, "No, you need to go to the hospital." I'm not going to the hospital. I feel okay. God was right there with me, and I kept affirming that I am okay, I am okay, I am okay, I am okay, over and over and over again. I am saying my truth. I am okay, over again. And I was, and I am. I did eventually go to the doctor, and did I get turned purple? I called my granddaughter and said, "I have purple eyes on one side, but I don't have any purple makeup for the other." She said, "I got some, but she's here and I was in Oklahoma, so it didn't work out real well." On Monday, I went back to work, and what I found was every time I would tell the story, if somebody asked me, "What happened to you?" they would come up with all these reasons why, number one, I should have gone to the doctor, but of stories about other people who had bad things happen. It's like, and those bad things, those bad stories began to niggle at my consciousness just a little. And I would get this what if argument. What if they're right? Nope, not going there. I am not going there. I am sticking in my truth. I am whole, perfect, and complete. Because that's what we teach. That's what we are. That's what I know. So I would go into meditation. Even if it was a 3-minute meditation, going, yes, yes, I am whole, I am perfect, I am complete. And that seemed to work. Now, I keep telling people when they ask, I know that something really good is coming out of that knock on my head. I don't know what it is. Hasn't made its appearance yet. But I'm going to guess that it's not instant healing, at least for myself. Might be instant healing for somebody else, but not going to be for me. Don't know what it is yet, but it's coming, I know. I'm going to tell you another story. I went to Orrin Lee Peters' memorial service on the 20th of October, so this was before I fell and it became the part of this talk. Part of the talk came first. Now you might say, what's up with Orrin Lee Peters and why do you care about going to this memorial service? He was 102. So it wasn't like it was something that he was taken from us too soon or anything. He was really ready to go. The service was fairly typical, as much as I understand a Presbyterian service to be. The group mingled for an hour before the service began rather than after. I thought that was interesting. And then an hour or so after as well. There was a short piece by the minister whose name happened to be Reverend Mitch Miller, no relation. Songs by the grandchildren, a reading of the obituary by another grandchild, and then his son got up to do remarks. Now, in services that I've been to, lots of them, they asked the audience to get up and give remarks, but there was none of that. Only the son talked. And he told 2 stories that stuck with me. He told how Orrin Lee was in Korea and then again in World War II. And at one point, he and his platoon were surrounded by enemy. And he figured there was no way any of them were going to get out. So he turned to prayer and he said, okay, God, here we are, we're surrounded by the enemy, and if this is what you mean for me to do, if my life is over now, okay, I'm okay with that. But if there's anything that you want me to do with my life, you're going to have to help me out of this situation here. And if there's anything that you want me to do with my life, I will do it absolutely every day to the very best of my ability. Well, obviously, he got to be 102, so the airplanes came in, bombed the heck out of the enemy, and they were rescued. So I know Orrin Lee from Toastmasters, and I've heard that story multiple times with somewhat different nuances throughout. And he said every day he would plant both feet on the ground and say, here I am, God, guide me, and I will do whatever it is that you want me to do with all my strength and all my energy. His son told another story that I thought was interesting. There were 4 children, and they went camping on a regular basis. Now this was old-fashioned camping because World War II, there were no fancy tents, it was just canvas. They really cooked over the campfire, the whole bit. Slept in a bedroll, blankets rolled up. But nobody got to sleep in when they're camping because Orrin Lee would go wherever the sun was rising and say, oh, what a beautiful morning! And the guy sang, probably as badly as I do. And for sure, nobody was going to sleep from that. I mean, he didn't go and jiggle them awake. He just sang at them. Now you're going, okay, Suellen, why are you talking about this? What does this have to do with my life? After the service, a man from my Toastmasters club and his 12-year-old daughter were standing in the lobby waiting for the mother who had gone to the restroom. And the 12-year-old comes up to me and says, what did you get out of the service? She's 12. And she's got this adult demeanor about her that says, what did you get out of the service? And I'm like, Okay, let me tell you, I got out of it these two things. One of them is that we should plant our feet and say, here I am, God, use me. And the other one is, it's a beautiful morning. What are we going to do with it? And so I want to say what I have done since that memorial service every single day is get up. Well, sometimes I do it still laying in bed and think to myself, okay, God, here I am. Use me. Whatever it is you want me to do, I will do with all the power and energy and love that I have on this beautiful morning. And I challenge each of you to do the same. And let's take all of that into prayer. God is all there is. There is one power, one creative force. It's everywhere. It's in everything. It's through everything. It's as everything. That power, that is God, is right here, right now, flowing through my being as I'm speaking my word. And I'm speaking my word in the first person because God is all there is, and I am talking to me. And if these words resonate with you, you can make them be your words. God is in and through and as me in all that I do. And I know that I stand here open and willing and ready to do whatever it is that's mine to do today. I am. Here I am. Here I am, God. Use me. Let me be the blessing in the lives that I touch. Let me be the path. Let me be the light. Let me be whatever it is you would have me be. And so I give thanks on this beautiful morning that I can be here in this place and speak my word, knowing that God is expanding through me in the areas of love and joy and partnership and creativity and enjoyment and hope, and mostly in love. And so with a joyful, grateful heart, I say, thank you, God, for manifesting through me in all of these ways, knowing it is the truth of who I am. And if you are in agreement with me, please affirm. And so it is.